Hello and welcome to another episode of Moose's Gear Goo Review. I'm Moose, and today I have a knife review. But if you're ever interested in learning about knives, gear, food, and tech for backpacking, travel, EDC, and camping, then please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification for any up-to-date reviews or videos that I put out on my channel. Today we're talking about BK40 by Ka-Bar. So the Becker BK40, made by Ka-Bar Knives, and this is quite an awesome blade, and I am super excited to have this in my hand and be able to carry it for you guys for the last couple of weeks to give you a decent review on it. Okay. So, that being said, my name is Moose, and today we have the BK40. It's an awesome, compact, but yet tough, stubby, stocky, beefy knife that really kind of replicates the ergonomics and the overall feel of a Becker knife, specifically like the BK16. So, if you don't know Ethan Becker, he has Becker Knife and Tools as his company, and he works for Ka-Bar and designed a lot of his more mass-produced knives. So he's done like the BK2, the BK7. A lot of these are really hard-use knives that people love, especially in the survival bushcraft community. With that, a few years back, he made the BK16, which is this knife here. And this is one of my favorite all-time knives, beloved knives. And I've used it and abused it for many years. It was my primary camp knife up until recently. But definitely holds a spot in my heart, and I love it. And you'll see a lot of similarities between this knife and the BK40. But basically, he kind of took this design of his and he turned it into a folder. So, pretty exciting. And that folder is this. The Ka-Bar Becker 40. An awesome, budget-friendly, hard-use folder that most people would just love to get in hand. So, as always, we'll go over the specs, and then we'll talk about the blade shape and handle design and what my overall thoughts and opinions are. We'll also get an ugly brown glove test in there and maybe a shot of it in my pocket. So that being said, the overall length. So the overall length of this knife is 8.5 inches. The blade length is just over 3.5 inches long. The blade width is 1.38 inches in width. The blade thickness is 0.14 inches. The handle length is 5 inches, and the overall weight for this knife is 4.9 ounces. So it's not a light pocket in hand or not a light pocket knife in hand or in pocket, but I will say it is lighter than I initially thought. So it is a hefty knife. It's built thick. You can feel that right away. You can feel the durability as soon as you get it in hand, and when you grab it, you definitely get a feel of like hard use camp utility knife. So going over the blade shape, on the sites that I've seen, some reference it as a drop point. Personally, I think it's more of a clip point, but either way, it kind of straddles that line between the two. We have a nice flat spine, and then it drops towards the point there. We have a decorative swedge up there. Helps with drag when slicing through the tip. We have a nice flat into a nice generous belly. That will make this really nice for skinning or kind of rolling through your cuts towards the tip. It comes to a nice fine point, and with that swedge up top makes this a decent piercer. We have a high saber grind. That's a flat saber grind there, which is nice and it's what I prefer. And then we have this nice sharpening ricasso right at the hilt there. We have dual thumb studs. These thumb studs are nice and thick and beefy, so they're no problem with finding. They are a little bit chamfered around the edges, so it can be kind of slick, I imagine. So just take note of that. But they are nice, thick, and they go with the overall motif of this just being kind of an overbuilt folder. There is branding on it. We have the Ka-Bar Becker tool knife logo on the front there. Then on the spine we have Made in China there. And then on the reverse side we have the blade steel stamp, which I always appreciate, which is AUS 8. Now that is a budget friendly steel. It's not the greatest, but Ka-Bar does a really decent job with their AUS 8. So it's more than usable, and the satin finish on this knife is spectacular, so it'll do a decent job of resisting rust. We do have some jimping on the spine. That actually feels pretty good, very tactile. I'd say it's about a medium grip, and the spine does have a sharp enough edge that you probably could throw sparks, or at least help get some shavings off some wood. Moving into the handle, I'll say this right off the bat. Besides the attractive blade shape, the handle is definitely one of the highlights of this knife. Taking it basically directly from the BK16, you get the overall shape, and the actual swells are pretty much identical. Obviously, the BK16 might be a little bit thicker and more exaggerated on the swells compared to the BK40. It still has to, the BK40 still has to remain somewhat thin to slide in and out of pocket, but either way, you still get enough of it to feel the ergonomics. So that is the handle. The handle is made out of GFN, and it's super comfy in hand, especially when you put the thumb on spine grip. It just really locks in. I have wide hands here, and it feels perfectly fine. I can get a really strong grip on that, and yes, I can notice the pocket clip a little bit, but it's nothing devastating to turn me away from this knife. Going into the pocket clip, one of the other cool features for this knife, especially for it being a chunky boy, is the fact that it has a wire pocket clip. A deep carry fold over wire pocket clip. Obviously it doesn't go to the very end of the butt, but it's deep carry enough to keep this in pocket. The other thing is it is 4-way positionable, so we got left, right, tip up, tip down, with that wire clip. As far as I know, this is one of the first knives that I have handled where there is a 4-option handle clip or pocket clip available. So that's wire. So really cool. I love wire pocket clips, and I think that's just really neat for our lefties or righties, however you want to carry it. There's also a nice generous lanyard slot in there for any of you lanyard people. And overall, it is a 3/4 or about a third back spacer here with 2/3 flow through. There are stainless steel blacked out liners, which helps it blend into the handle, and it is a liner lock that actually has some texture on it, as well as being slightly raised above the profile, so it makes it easier to find and disengage. It has bronze phosphorus washers that once you break this bad boy in and you get your technique down, it flies out pretty well. Very smooth for such a large knife. The centering's really nice. and there isn't much grip to the Gravity, but it's enough. On that too, for being such a chunky boy, it actually has a decent slim profile when it's closed, which I also really like. And man, it just feels great in hand. That being said, when I did use it for cutting on some sticks and stuff, it felt really natural in hand to get that thumb on the back spine. And once you're in that grip, it just locks in really nicely, carves pretty well. I also used it at work for cutting open boxes and stuff. You know, with these grooves and these swells, you can just really get in there and just use it to open a box real quick, cut hard into something, hold in a couple different grips. I was able to even like chop small little like twigs or branches with that nice knuckle at the back there that can help you do a little bit of my like super small chopping, but still nice. Reverse grips, it's super comfortable. So in like a tactical knife fighting sense, if you want to go there with this, it is usable that way. Ideally, I think this is meant for outdoors applications, camping, a nice folding camp knife. For backpacking, it would also work, but I feel like the weight is a little bit high for being a good backpacking knife. But just for a budget hunter, folding hunting knife, this thing would definitely fit the bill. So that being said, Aussate steel, no big hiccup with that. Love the ergos, fits well. In pocket, it is a bit thicker and chunkier, and so it's not the best in pocket personally for me. If you're a bigger dude or you just, are used to carrying a bigger blade, you probably would not have any problems with this. I prefer a slightly lighter and slimmer blade, but at the same time, this wasn't overbearing in pocket, just slightly bigger than what I prefer. Going into the ugly brown glove test, we have to do the ugly brown glove test. We're just gonna check to see if we can open it with a cloth glove. So grip in hand, the jimping up top is nice. It does lock in there with those grooves as far as the finger choil or the guard there. Definitely prevents me from slipping forward. With the hook on the back, it actually helps me lock in as well as slipping backwards, which is kind of funny. The texture on the Gravity is a little slick, but not the worst. But just know that if you do have cloth gloves, that could potentially slip out. The nice chunky thumb studs make it really easy to find and slow roll. I wish they were stepped in a way to give me a little bit more traction on it, because they're chamfered like that. They are a little bit round, and the cloth gloves don't seem to hit that as well. But nonetheless, I can get my thumb around it, flick it open, I can slow roll it, and we're good to go. The textured on the liner lock is easy to disengage, and yeah, definitely passes. I wish the Gravity was a little bit more textured for a grip, but overall it does a pretty good job. And I'll give this, as far as the ugly brown glove test goes, I give the BK40 I'll say a solid B in the ugly brown glove test. So pass. Alright, so then other than that, who do I think this knife is for? I think it's for any Becker BK fan. I think it's for anyone who's looking for a hard use budget folder. At the time of this video, on most of the knife sites that I looked at, it was around $40. So killer deal. Just know it is a larger knife, so it's not going to be a small EDC, but I'd say this is definitely a woodsman type EDC, or even like a job site EDC if you're into construction. I know I use it at work at my butcher shop, so awesome blade. Do I recommend it? Yes. And for $40, you can definitely take a shot at it and see if it's for you, but hoping down the line they make some more premium versions with different handle materials and blade materials. But for right now, $40, Aussate 8 with the Ka-Bar Becker design, like, it's a no-brainer. Get this knife. So there you have it, guys. That's my quick review of the BK40. Make sure you check out my unboxing of it and maybe my review of the BK16. I'll link that in the eye in the upper right-hand corner up there. And other than that, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know if you got this knife or if you're a fan of BK Becker knives. And other than that, peace, and I'll see you outside. Bye.